Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of SQUPCAST. We've been off air for a little while over the summer and into autumn while most of you have been on lovely holidays, but we're back and today's episode is a bit of a risky move. We are coming to you live from Microsoft Ignite, semi-live. This has been recorded about an hour before you're watching it because, as any of you who've been to a conference know, having reliable Wi-Fi is challenging. So we should have time to record this, and if there are any disasters, we'll snip them out. So what you see is maybe a little more seamless, if potentially with a few rough cuts in there. So we'll do our best, but Bruce is going to be joining me very shortly. I'm just watching the sort of backstage area, waiting for Bruce to drop in so I can bring him up and say hi. We're hoping that this can be a bit conversational, but worst case, I will ping Bruce some messages on Slack and he will just do some bits and pieces, talk to the questions, and we'll at least get you some good insights from what's going on. For any of you who have never been to Microsoft Ignite, it's been off the calendar for a few years over the pandemic, but it was always just the most fun annual conference if you are sort of heavily invested in sort of Microsoft technologies. It's a great event. Hundreds of vendors go there, give away loads of free stuff. It's a great way to learn about new technologies. Microsoft showcase all sorts of stuff. There are thousands of hours worth of in-depth technical talks, learning opportunities, the ability to get certifications renewed, that kind of stuff. It's just such a great event. So if you haven't been able to go this year, I think it's sold out at 10,000 attendees in Chicago this time. Hopefully it'll be back on next year, maybe even bigger and better, like the good old days of Microsoft Ignite in Orlando and Atlanta. And it's such a great event. I can see Bruce has just appeared, so just to avoid having to lose him, I'll stop waffling for a second and we'll just see if we can get Bruce to say hi, and then we'll get on with the show. Bruce, can you hear me?
Hello, Bruce here at Microsoft Ignite. I'm here with SquareUp, and I'm going to give you a bit of a feel for what it's like to be here at the moment. Adam's going to ask me a bunch of questions, and I'll give you the answers. And then we're going to take a little bit of a walk around the expo. As you can see, the SquareUp booth is right behind me. This doesn't really paint the full scale of what it's like to be here at Microsoft Ignite, so we'll see that very, very soon.
Great. Okay, so Bruce is just going to run to the front of the expo hall. He's going to give us a good walking tour of what's going on. Some of the other vendors that are there, some of the Microsoft stuff that's going on, hopefully catch a few of the hot topics from the keynote, that kind of stuff as he walks around. While he's making that quick dash, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what SquareUp actually does at events like this. So I will just quickly share my screen and show you some of the fun stuff that we do. So SquareUp Cloud came out a couple of years ago, and we wanted an easy way to explain to people how SquareUp works and what it does. And of course, being SquareUp, we want to give people Lego, which is what we always do at events. So we built this app. We call it our swag store as Lego app. It lets you build your own minifigure. If you're uninspired, you can click randomize, or you can do what everybody does, which is just randomly pick a head and then go straight for Darth Vader. That's what everybody does. Without fail, straight to Darth Vader with a red lightsaber. That is our most popular Lego Jedi. You can click confirm, you can fill in some information, tell us whether you're a light side or a dark side person, and you can order your Jedi. And when you do that, the order goes through, our team are sitting there ready to build the figure for you live on the booth. You can chat to them while they're doing it. Somebody could give you a demo. But the purpose of the Swag Store app is really to show what SquareUp does. The app runs, it's a serverless app. It runs on a mix of Azure and AWS services. There's a few other bits and pieces in between, Cloudflare DNS. We've got tickets being created in Zendesk, all sorts of stuff. And that's just a really great way to help somebody understand what SquareUp's all about by being able to show them all of those different things, dashboarded, visualized with all the metrics, and not just the technical metrics, but the business metrics as well. So if I just quickly share again, I'll show you the kind of dashboards that we show to people, the kind of things that we build in SquareUp ourselves for our own business. So this business process dashboard, using one of our cool sort of live diagram tiles, is showing the status of the different microservices that were just called in the background there while I was scanning the QR code on the booth. The app was loading. I designed my minifigure. I filled out a survey. I was then given the tracker, and I was then able to pick it up. And in between that, we've got things like inventory management and the build queue. You can see that so far at the event this year, in the last sort of 2 days, they've built 849 minifigures, which is pretty impressive. I think AWS reInvent last year, we got to about 1,000. So they've got a day left to get that number up. But for each of those services, you can drill in and you can see all of these more detailed dashboards. So we've got the app monitoring dashboards that cover the parts of the application, but you can also jump in and you can see things like our inventory tracking, which is data coming out of our app. It's not necessarily technical data, it's the back end inventory kind of information. We've then got things like SLO reporting. We've got a DevOps dashboard showing how the app's deployed using Circle CI into the various different hosting providers. We've got this other nice live diagram showing the sort of the architecture of the application. And then these top level wallboards showing things like KPIs and what's going on the service desk. There's all sorts of cool stuff. And we use this demo application, A, to give people free Lego, but B, to sort of talk to them about what SquaredUp does and how it does it. So it's pretty fun. If you ever see us at an event, come along. It'll take 2 or 3 minutes to build you this little Lego minifigure that you've chosen. It's a really fun way to interact with us. I can see Bruce is raring to go. So I'll bring Bruce back up. It looks like he's just outside the expo hall. Bruce, if you can hear me, give us a little walk through the expo and let us know what's going on with all the different cool Microsoft areas. Over to you.
Okay, so you've joined me just outside the hub, the expo hub. We're going to take a look inside and see what things kind of look like, and I'm going to give you a bit of a feel for what's going on and just the scale of this event. It's an absolutely vast event. So I'm walking in from the main kind of concourse right now, and I'm going to switch my camera around so you can see what's going on. So here we go, we're walking into the main kind of concourse. We've got one of the theatres on the right hand side over here. As you can see, lots of vendors here. There's a sort of patio area, which is kind of interesting over there. Sponsored by one of the partners, I believe. Plenty of vendors. There are multiple different vendor zones. They've given themes to some of the vendor zones as well. So SquaredUp, we're actually over this direction over here. In zone 3, I think it's classed as, and there's a sort of featured part here as well. We'll see in a minute. We're walking past sort of the big vendors here. So we've got the likes of Intel and Cognizant here, AMD. There's a large partnership announcement around Silicon announced with AMD yesterday in the keynote, which was interesting. Definitely worth checking out the keynote if you missed it. But one thing that I think is really cool is, as always with Microsoft Ignite events, they've gone quite big on sort of look and feel, not just the booth. By that I mean this. Let's just go around this corner here, and you'll see they have a massive light installation hanging from the ceiling, and obviously the Copilot logo in full sight. They are going big on the Copilot look and feel and theme by using those same colours in the light display. The obligatory massive Microsoft sign, I'll have to get a picture by that later on. And this is sort of the centre of the expo area now. We have effectively booths from Microsoft for various areas of their products, which is really cool. And everything is represented here, essentially. Plenty of people getting answers to their questions. I spoke to a couple of MVPs yesterday that are helping on the booth with a bit of booth duty there to complement Microsoft's own staff. And of course, Copilot slap bang in the middle of everything, which is really quite cool. Low-code escape room is a novel thing. Then we're going to move past the AI postcard station, which has had over a half-an-hour queue the entire event, essentially, which is quite a cool thing. They're using Copilot, the same as used in Bing, to generate custom avatars. Wait from here is 15 minutes, so the line goes all the way around the corner. It's very, very popular. And we're now at the other end of the Microsoft end of the expo. And if I just quickly turn around, you'll see the other obligatory sign is a massive Copilot logo. So now we're going into sort of a further vendor area here. This is again area here. So there are, partners like NVIDIA here, Paxata here, MongoDB are here, ClickHouse are here. We had a good conversation with those guys yesterday about what they're doing. And even more vendors down the far end. They actually have a sort of recording area up here at the top as well. I think this massive line here is for the lunch queue. we'll go and have a look at that. The lunch here has been very, very good. They always make a sort of good effort with the quality of food at these things. Coffee, however, is much more variable. My tip for you is if you do come to one of these large scale events like Microsoft Ignite, go and find a friendly vendor with coffee on their stand. Here we go, this is conference coffee over here, along with many, many more vendors, of course. There's a theatre in the background as well. And yesterday when they were showing the keynote, they were showing it obviously live, but they were also showing it on the theatre screens as well. It's Qualcomm here, ThoughtWorks and Mirroring to get to this theatre over here. I'm just going to keep on going to the food area just to give you a full understanding of what's kind of going on and the shape of this event. So that lunch line continues. It is definitely the lunch line, I can confirm, absolutely massive. Snakes all the way past Dell, and we're going to have a look at the shape of the food. So we're up front of the lunch line now, and I figured out why it's so long, and that's because I haven't started serving yet. It smells great. I think I can smell chicken. Let's have a look, see if we can get a feel for what it is today. Satay skewers from the looks of things, looks very good. Yeah. Now walking back up towards the Squared Up booth, past the lunch line again. You get a feel for how big this event is. It's been this busy the entire time, essentially, even when sessions have been running. This isn't sort of a lunchtime blip or anything. It's just busy. The quality of conversations I've had has been really high as well. You know, everyone's really engaged with the content. It seems like the keynote messaging has really sort of got through, essentially, and it's sort of filtered through to the conversations we've been having. Oh yeah, swag. It's worth having a quick talk about swag as well. No conference would be complete without it. So Microsoft, when you attend, you get some official swag, and it is essentially this year a backpack and a water. Nice backpack it is too. In fact, this chap in front of me has got the very backpack with Microsoft logo on the front. I have to ask him what happened to his water bottle. So we're back in the Microsoft area now. The art of prompting and code. Another one. On the side, there's a Teams area here, modern work area, where they're talking about Azure Virtual Desktop and of course Copilot. Second modern work stand there. Edge for Business is featuring. Dynamics 365 is there as well. It's kind of interesting. That's come up more times than I was expecting on the stand over the course of this week. Power Automate. Power Automate hasn't featured in any of the keynotes this year, which is a change from previous couple of years where it has featured. More Copilot over there. We're moving now to the sort of security area. And again, Microsoft Security Copilot. No surprises there. Okay, so we're coming over to this, which is worth seeing, which is a Coffee with Copilot stand area. It's basically a hands-on with Copilot. So if you've not used Copilot before, get a feel for how it works. Obviously, conversational approach to interacting with it, and people are getting there. Of course, there are actual coffees, there are drinks here, which is always good, in addition to the conference coffee. So very, very cool.
Yeah. Oh, looks like we've lost Bruce just as he was getting into the good stuff. As always, Bruce at an event, it's all about the food, it's all about the drinks. It's obviously you need the brain food to keep you going at these events. Bruce he's just messaging, he's just going to run back to the booth and we'll try and get some snippets with some of the Squared Up team, see what they've been up to, and get some more sort of insights on the keynote and various bits and pieces. Having watched that segment, and the number of times Bruce's audio dropped out and the number of times people walked right up into his face, I will definitely do a little bit of snipping. So hopefully what you're seeing now won't be perfect, but it will be a bit shorter and without as much of the glitching in and out with the conference Wi-Fi. We have our own internet on the booth, so hopefully Bruce is going to get back to his laptop and we'll get some better sort of quality audio going. He's actually back now, so let me just come and get Bruce up. You ready to go? Thumbs up. Yeah, here we go. It's with Dave from our product team. Let's hand over.
Okay, so I'm joined by Dave Clark. Dave is one of our product managers, also works with me here at Squared Up. And Dave's been on the booth the entire time, so I want to get a feel from Dave as to how it's been. So Dave, how's it been on the booth?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. I think we made about 500 Lego figures so far, and great just to be able to kind of show off the dashboards. I've had all sorts of stuff, people talking about Intune and Copilot, and just great to be able to show how we can kind of bring a bit more visibility to some of those scenarios. Yeah.
Sounds really good. Has there been a sort of standout theme, a thing that's resonated with the large majority of people?
Yeah, good question. I think generally people have loved just the ease of use and kind of simplicity. You know, we get a lot of questions around how does it compare to Power BI, how does it compare to Grafana and so on. And people have just loved how easy it is, kind of point and click and build those dashboards, connect to your data sources, kind of pull all that in real time. So yeah, it's been good fun. Good fun.
Great. Thank you, Dave. Thanks for joining me. I'll let you get back to the booth now.
Back to Lego. Thanks very much.
Back to Lego.
Cheers, guys.
Okay, and we'll go for one more segment with Bruce in just a second. I think he's going to try and find Rich, our CEO. We've mentioned Intune a couple of times in there, actually, so it's probably worth me just doing a little quick bit of public service announcement. For any of you who use Microsoft 365 and have used our plugin, you may have already seen this. But through some recent updates, we've just added some great functionality for Intune and also for Copilot as well. I can show you just a quick example. There's now these nice out-of-box dashboards for Intune. So managed device compliance overview is a really great way just to see the state of everything. And there are loads of perspectives in this plugin now. So you can drill into, let's say, this laptop, for example, and you can get a really focused view on exactly what's going on. There's also this link out to Intune, so you can jump straight across if you need to actually take some actions. But you can see here it has an issue with its default policy. You can see all of the specifics about the exceptions that it's throwing. It's just some really great additions. And just to quickly show you the other bits and pieces that come with Microsoft 365 now. We can see there are a load of different Intune data streams. There's loads of great stuff in here. If you heavily use Intune, really do check it out. Things about devices and people. There's a couple of Copilot data streams, which let you, if you're using Copilot and you want to see things like engagement with Copilot, if people are using their licenses, how many people have licenses, all that kind of stuff, these data streams can pull that information back. And everything else is still in there for groups and devices, OneDrive, SharePoint, Outlook usage, that kind of stuff. It's a really, really awesome plugin. And with the out-of-box dashboards now as well, it's just really, really handy to be able to, just really build some great admin dashboards from Microsoft 365 and, prove that you're getting value from features like Copilot, that kind of stuff. Bruce is ready to go. He's got Richard. So let me just bring Bruce back up for the final segment, and then we'll go ahead and probably wrap it up. Bruce, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, here we go.
So I'm here now with Richard Benwell, founder and CEO of SquaredUp. You've been on the booth the entire time as well, essentially, unlike my good self. So I want to get a bit of feel for you as to what's been coming up. What are the key themes you've been hearing?
It's been a busy time on the booth, that's why I've been there. Yeah. Great to be back at Ignite after all these years. I know they've been running it in Seattle, but I think that's just been a bit of a watching party for a virtual event. So this feels like Ignite of old, and of course it was 2015 that Ignite first ran in Chicago, quite sort of small scale, so it feels similar to that. But yeah, great to be back, really cool. So had a lot of interest. I guess this is all about our next gen dashboarding tool, a single pane of glass tool, the cloud product versus dashboard server. So yeah, a lot of interest in it, a lot of interest in all the integrations. Now we integrate with more than just SCOM. So I'm sure you know, like we've had a lot of questions about M365 integration, Intune integration. Obviously a lot of questions about Copilot. Really nice use case there where we can plug into those 365 APIs and report on Copilot usage within your organization, which is getting a lot of interest from guys who are having to manage that. So the report up to management, is anyone actually using this? Because the keynote was all about Copilot, right? So pretty cool to find out whether people are actually using it. And then a lot of questions about Power BI, actually, that comes up, obviously within the Microsoft ecosystem, so how are we different from Power BI? And I think that's really resonating, the fact that we plug directly into the APIs of those tools, so you get real-time operational views, you get native integration, so out of the box of those dashboards, and then you've got all those drill downs and roll-ups as well. So I think sort of people are sort of seeing that they need more than what Power BI can offer for those operational views. So it's been really good to talk about that. And the Lego Jedi,
of course the Lego Jedi.
Smashing it out.
Absolutely. Has to be said, I've had the Power BI question quite a few times as well.
Yeah.
Good to hear how you phrase an answer versus how I phrase an answer. So I'm going to ask you one final question then. What predictions do you have for anyone watching as to what Ignites will look like next year?
Oh, bigger. For sure. I mean, I've been contacted by a bunch of people who wanted to come this year, but it's sold out, 10,000 people, but it's sold out, I think, really quickly. So I think now people know it's back on the the calendar. I think they're going to be getting into their schedule for next year, getting budget for it. So I reckon it'll be heading back down to Orlando or Atlanta again, and a lot bigger. So yeah, good to be back.
Sounds good. Hopefully we'll be there next year too. If it's something like this, I think it's definitely worth us doing.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you. Cool.
Okay, I think we'll probably have to leave it there. Technical strain is sort of starting to show on the connectivity here. Great to see some live sort of views from the expo. I'm very envious not to be there myself. It's probably my first year for a while not going to an event. But yeah, hopefully next year, bigger and better again, as Ignite tends to be every year. No surprises, lots of Copilot, as is the way with everything. But yeah, if there's anything interesting that you've seen in there, things that have inspired your use for Squared Up or anything, do get in touch. Let me just bring up our sort of closing slide, and I'll go ahead and wrap us up. We have some great episodes coming up. Probably a couple more this year, and then a few more getting onto the calendar for next year. We're going to be talking to some customers. We've got some really good technical deep dives with some Squared Up staff coming on the podcast soon. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, if you've done anything really cool with Web API or PowerShell, or you're struggling with anything, community is a great place to start. community.squareup.com. It's what we're all about at Squared Up. There's loads of great stuff on there already. If you want to share things, there's a new gist section where you can write up cool stuff that you're doing. If you've got ideas for new plugins or any new features that you might want, you can head to feedback.squareup.com. Or if maybe you want to appear, maybe you've got a great story to share, something cool that you're doing, a really good use case that you're using for your monitoring environment, data analytics, anything that sort of Squared Up kind of fits into, and you want to come on SQUPCAST and talk about it, you can drop us a line at squupcast@squareup.com and we can get you scheduled in. But we'll leave it there for today. I don't think we'll try and get back to the event. A little bit too crazy with the Wi-Fi. Quick bit of editing, I think, necessary, but hopefully we'll get this broadcast out to you in slightly more polish. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.